I am Michiel, the founder of Cocoa Pallet, and I beat the often path by using coconuts to solve one of the most pressing problems that we face right now.
Welcome back to the Beat the Often Path podcast. I'm your host, Ross Palmer. This is the show where we find forward-thinking solutions to our most pressing problems, proving that you can build a life and career of meaning while tackling some of the major issues facing our species. Joining me today is Michiel Vos, the founder and CTO of Cocoa Pallet, a Dutch startup that makes circular, affordable transportation pallets made from coconut husks only. They're helping to save an estimated 200 million trees from being chopped down needlessly. And their solution is not only more affordable, but it is itself biodegradable and resellable and reusable as a potting soil enhancer after its main life. It is an ingenious solution that uses the waste from the coconut industry, material that would otherwise just be dumped or burned, and it's exactly the kind of solution that we need going forward. They've won the Heineken Award as well as the Accenture Innovation Award for their work, and it's only the start, I hope, of an exciting new circular frontier for a massive industry. So again, here is Michiel Vos of Cocoa Pallet. Okay, welcome to the show, Michiel. So glad to have you here. So what are the most pressing problems? What is the most pressing problem that we have right now?
Well, we're running out of trees.
Okay.
And that's quite worrying, saying this with a smile, but it is worrying. We have so many people, and so many trees have been cut and are cut daily to supply the demand. And so the idea is just to stop cutting wood for and forest for things that don't last that long. Like one of them, export pellets that are used like once. And and so far it looks pretty good.
Okay. Well, I've seen the movie Avatar, and I was on the side of the humans, so who cares about trees? Burn them all down, right? Isn't that the point of the movie?
Yeah, it's also a bit of Lord of the Rings, you know. It's burning all the trees, but
Yeah, who
yeah,
cares? Just
without trees,
trees.
no oxygen, no life, and there
So,
are a lot of tribes. And also, if you look like the Navas, like how to respect life when they kill an animal, that they think thank you for giving you life. Same
right.
with trees, and this is how it should be.
Yeah,
And I'm
because
not like a tree hugger, but it's practical. We need trees, and so let's not cut down things that we better leave in the forest.
right. And I think that's kind of what this show is all about, because a lot of these ideas have been seen as tree hugger or hippie ideas. A lot of it has been seen as fringe in the past 50, 60 years, or at least that's the way it's been painted. But more and more smart people and entrepreneurial people are recognizing that no, this isn't an ideological thing. It's just a practical thing. It's a research based thing. So it's nice to have
That
people like you who are
exactly.
building a business on the
Yeah,
back of this.
yeah. And if you just focus on the biggest problems you can find, and that you think like, hey, this got my name on it,
Yeah.
then that's also the most challenging and the most fun and the most rewarding and the most difficult, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it takes a kind of character to do so with your team. But I think entrepreneurs are much more efficient in solving problems than governments. They can work together, but we've seen in the past that entrepreneurs are capable of creating a lot of destruction very fast,
Yep.
and they can also do the opposite.
So when you had the idea to do this, what was the first step that you took? Did you know that you wanted to build a business, but you just didn't know what it was at first?
It's not like a moment that you say like that was the moment, but I think for this project, the Cocoa Pallet project, it was the moment that one of the professors gave me a report. He said like, we're so frustrated. This is so promising, and nobody in the last 12 years could make something from it.
Hmm.
You're an entrepreneur. Look at it, read it, call me back. So I
Okay.
called him back the next day, and this is where this project started. But the awareness of doing something with like bamboo and water purification was already like years before that. But everything I did before and everything that went sideways, went south, helped me in this project.
Mm. So what did he hand you? What was what was the research that he showed you?
It's like 60 pages of research they did with money from the United Nations about how to make building materials with coconut materials. And I read it and I thought like, oh, wow, they just they just picked the wrong market product combination. And then I thought like, then you think like, what could you do with this? And then you just connecting the dots.
Okay.
So it's just reading a lot, learning how to connect dots, and then start to analyzing things, trying things, and then move on from one to the other thing. And
Mhm.
most things, of course, don't work. And then you have to focus on things that do work. But you have to do the things that don't work to find out what does work.
So you started using coconuts as a material, but you didn't know what you were going to use it for. And I guess more specifically, we're talking about coconut waste, right? Coconut husks,
Yeah,
byproducts of the industry.
like this is
Ooh,
the
there we
coconut,
go.
and
Nice. I love
what
visuals.
and this is what we use, like the hairy part. See
Okay.
the food, the drinks inside. Then you have like the hard shell, nice fuel. But this is mostly just thrown away, and
Okay.
that's what we use.
Okay. So, what were some of the ideas that you went through at the beginning to get to the final idea? What were some things that you tried that didn't work?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to your mind is like people need building materials. They need a house. They need a shelter. They need to have a roof for their above their heads for their children and things like. But they have such a long leeway, and the margins are very small. So I thought like you have to build a cash cow, which is pellets in this case, and to do like the other things. We have like hundreds of things that you could do. Because what we do, like I show you, if you like
Sure.
goodies, like this is like a
Sorry for
piece
the
of the
people listening.
pellet,
Ooh, I feel like I'm in a
and
tiki lounge.
it's only coconut. There's no resin, there's nothing. It's like a kind of MDF. So if you can make this, basically you can make a lot of other things.
So, what it looks like for those who are just listening and not watching on video, it looks kind of like island tropical themed Starbucks drink carrier, but larger.
It looks very happy. It's inspired on
Yeah.
biomimicry. So, see, from the
Ooh,
first pellets we
pattern of
learned,
leaves.
yeah, pattern of leaves. We started like with a team with our friend Carlos in Portugal. The leaves of the coconuts and how the trees and how the direction of the leaves and like how they can withstand the storm. And that was the inspiration for this pellet. But if you are not watching but listening, if you have straight lines in the thing, like a chocolate bar, it breaks on a straight line, right? So we
Sure.
said, and that's what all our pellets did before. Then we said, like, we have to avoid all straight lines. So we only have curves. And that made the pellet with the same weight a lot stronger. Very logical.
Right.
And so we don't, why do they still make pellets with straight lines? It doesn't make sense. But learning by doing. But it
Mm.
looks amazing. And while that's the funny thing, a pellet, nobody cares what it looks like. It should be strong enough, compliant, so like no insects in it, like wood boring insect, and as cheap as possible.
Hmm.
What it looks like, the color, the shape, nobody cares. But
Sure.
even so, we thought like let's make something beautiful.
Yeah, why not? Let it stand out and make a statement at the same time. So what is the traditional process? What is the wasteful tree using process before you came in? How did that industry work? They're just chopping down trees to make fresh pallets? Is it even recycled at all?
Yeah, yeah. See, that used to be the thing. Like you cut a tree, you saw planks, and you make a pallet, and you put boxes on it and you ship it. But then, when the trees are gone, you have to go further away. So from Asia, they went to like New Zealand, Canada, or like other side of the world to bring wood in to make pallets and to ship back to the same countries, basically. So, and that's completely silly. So if you have a lot of trees like the Scandics or Canada, it doesn't matter. But these countries don't have so much export. The countries that do have a lot of export, like China, Japan, Taiwan, they have hardly any trees. They have some bamboo, they have grass. So, that's also the only focus for a company providing an alternative for the wooden pellets.
Hmm.
Because, it's simple to make. You need like a hammer, a handful of nails, and a saw, and then you're a pellet manufacturer.
So can you describe for us the process of how this works? So what is the input material? What are you doing to it? Just what's an overview of the process of building one of these pallets?
Yeah, I'm going to grab the coconut again. So the
Hey.
coconut falls down. The farmer takes the nut out and sells it to a factory. This stays behind. And so we buy that from the farms, we pay them a fair price for it. We bring it to the factory, we mill it, small bits, like kind of sawdust. Then we have to dry it, because if it's too wet, it works against us. Then we transport it to our molds, and they're like big steel molds that are heated. And then we put the material in it. That's a very special trick. And then it's like baking cookies,
Hmm.
but we put a lot of pressure. So, like some presses are like 3,000 ton pressure. There's like 3 million kilos of pressure
Wow.
on a pellet. And see, And then after a few minutes, the pellet comes out, and then because of the pressure, like the natural glue crosslinks, and then if it cools down, it's solid. Like, this is just pressed husk, and the heat and the pressure did the trick. But it also
Incredible.
makes it completely bio-based. So at the end of the line, when it's at the end of its life, you can just mill it and use it as pot soil because it's
Okay.
biomass. It's like a replacement for peat moss. So there's value. You can
Oh.
make some money on it by collecting these pellets and selling it to like pot soil companies.
It's brilliant. So that's not just a win-win, it's a win-win-win, which is even more exciting.
Yeah, there are several wins. First one, of course, is for the farmer that has waste and now gets money for it because that's like makes a difference of building a house or putting your children to school. And so that's part of our program. And yeah, all the way to the end.
What a cool concept. So we talk about the circular economy. What is the circular economy? Can you explain that? How does that
Well,
work?
basically everything was circular up to like 300 years ago because
Okay.
there's no waste. So your packaging, like for example, if you buy like a nice nasi lemak, like in Malaysia, the packaging is like a banana leaf. Even if
Right.
you just throw it on the street, no harm. If it's plastic, it will take hundreds of years to decompose, aluminum foil and stuff. So in the circular economy, everything goes back to the natural cycle. Product definitely. If we put like nails in it, it would be different. If we put some synthetic resin on it, what everybody told us would be make our lives a lot easier, it's not circular anymore. And so we didn't take the easy path, putting like some extra glue in it, but fine-tuned the process until we had something that was strong enough and fully bio-based. And that was not the easy path, but the right path for us.
Well, my path is made better a lot by chatting with people such as yourself. It's always the greatest pleasure of my day to be reminded that there are other people out there who have their hearts and minds in the right place and who are working hard to solve some of the problems that are facing us all. So you have my deep admiration and respect, and I'm very happy that you were able to turn your own life into a force for good. We need more people who are entrepreneurial, who are trying to solve the problems in the way that you have. So
That
I
sounds
just want to say,
fantastic. A force for good.
yes, that's right. Put that on your next t-shirt. You can do
No,
it.
but see, what you do is like giving a platform to ideas and about stories and about experience, and also asking why. Uh, I think that's very what a lot of people need. Just like a push, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I should, maybe not do it myself, but maybe find a purpose that's worth my time. And so you join a cause because everybody can be part of this, let's say, revolution for the good.
Yeah.
And your talent, everybody has talents, develop it and put it there where it's needed most. And only some of them will be successful entrepreneurs. Let's say like 95% of the startups fail. So that's why it's also when you're in a startup, like bootcamp stuff, you always have to look around, okay, 95% will fail. Who are the people I like to hire when they fail? Who are
Ah,
the people? But also think like, hey,
there you
if my
go.
company fails, where would I put my talents? Where
Right.
would I like to work? So this is a different way of looking at things when you're in such an incubator or something like that.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're at the end of our hour here. I want to let you direct people where you like. So promote anything. Where can people find you, support you to close us out here?
Well, if you just Google Cocoa Pellet, then you find
COCO
us. And it's fairly
PALLET.
easy. And we're not on social media that much, like a LinkedIn maybe.
Okay.
But, and
Sustainable pallets. You'll show up. Let's hope.
yeah, you just have to see like when do we find these guys? But there's only one. The name it tells what we do. Cocoa Pellet,
Perfect. We'll
and
blast it on the
this
screen.
is where you find us.
Cool. Well,
And we're
again,
based in Amsterdam. We're opening shop in the Philippines the coming year, and then we'll be all over where the coconuts are.
sounds good. I look forward to following your progress. Thanks again. And with that, the official podcast is over, Michiel.